tonight on, make sure the mic's on. Tonight on Fourth and a Mile, we'll be going over some updates from stories I've talked about this week, to include Jerry Jones and the Sean Miller situation. We'll also be talking about some spring training baseball and also rehashing, well, not rehashing, but talking again about Shohei Ohtani and what he did today, and also rehashing of my disapproval of the Cardinals off season. So stay tuned, guys. So welcome in, everybody, to this show that will not end. This is Fourth and a Mile, presented by Planet Adam. I'm the host and the Pharaoh / God King of Planet Adam. I am Adam Fernandez, here at your service. If you guys hear any noise in the background, that's my neighbors next door. They're partying. They do it every Friday, so I don't have a problem with them doing it. They get slightly loud, but it never really bothers me at all. So I don't mind them doing it. In fact, hell, I might go join them after this. Who knows? Tonight's going to be a pretty short episode, simply because it's Friday night. And you know what? I think I'm entitled to have fun on Friday nights too, right? I think everybody should be having fun on Friday nights. If you're not, then you're either working and you have another night that's actually technically a Friday night, or you maybe should think about considering going out and having fun on a Friday night. So, product placement, everybody, that's key. Dr. Pepper, I'm still waiting for the sponsorship. Guys, don't forget to go over to bandcamp.com. Check out A Bloody Chasm featuring Jocelyn Gonzalez and Matt Hutton, along with the rest of the band of Bloody Chasm. They have 4, 5, 6 songs on there. I don't remember the count anymore. I haven't been on there in a while myself, but I downloaded all of them. So, but yes, go check them out. Awesome music. You guys will love it if you're into hardcore rock and roll, or as Jocelyn calls it, spooky metal. So check them out. They are awesome. You guys won't be disappointed. They're the ones who do the intro song to the show. That song is called I Want to Rock and Roll, in case you can't tell by the very first line of the song. So go check them out. And bandcamp.com is a really cool site anyways, guys, so you'll love it there. Downloading some really cool songs for very, very, very cheap. And yes, definitely pick up A Bloody Chasm. So, alright guys, so this is going to be, like I said, a short night. There's really actually not much that happened today, really. At least nothing that interested me so much. So that's part of the reason why it's going to be so short. But the other reason is, again, just because I want to go out and enjoy my Friday nights. So let's go ahead and start off with a couple. Let's go ahead and start with baseball. We're going to go ahead and start with baseball, and I'm going to tell you why. Simply because I already know exactly what I want to say on the St. Louis Cardinals. Again, today, Carlos Martinez was supposed to pitch. He was actually taken out before the game even started, and so they started Bud Norris against the Red Sox today, and he didn't even last 2 innings. He gave up 2 home runs in the very first inning. Apparently tweaked his hamstring on a PFP play. In case you don't know what PFP is, that's pitcher fielding practice. But being that these are spring training games, that's still, even though it's in game technically, it's still pitcher fielding practice. But then on a second play in the second inning, which was virtually the same thing, he ended up doing the same thing, and just he had to get taken out just to make sure that he was okay. But he gave up the 2 home runs and 3 runs in the first inning. I believe he gave up another run in the second. I'm not too thrilled at all with the Cardinals offseason. I am not at all thrilled with the Cardinals pitching. When you look at who else is out there, as a Cardinal fan, you still have Jake Arrieta, Alex Cobb, Lance Lynn, who, as a St. Louis Cardinal fan, Lance Lynn has proven with all his years in St. Louis that he is a very reliable starter and could possibly be a number 1 starter even over Carlos Martinez if Martinez comes out and has another season like he did last year. But they're not doing that. They picked up 1 bat. That 1 bat being Marcell Ozuna, and you gave the Marlins a bunch of our top prospects for it. So we have the 1 bat who isn't proven yet to be able to hit when Stanton is not a teammate of his. The Cardinals don't have anybody at all that is at the same caliber as Giancarlo Stanton. So that means Ozuna is now the Giancarlo Stanton of our lineup. Now, will he perform like Giancarlo Stanton? That remains to be seen. My feeling is most likely not. He hit 37 home runs last year. That was the most in his career, and he did that hitting behind Stanton. He had a lot more pitches to see than Stanton did, and this year he's not going to get as many pitches. Or pitches to hit, rather. He's not going to get as many pitches to hit this year that he did last year because he doesn't have anybody protecting him now. He is the power hitter of the offense, the sole power hitter of the offense. Paul DeJong might come out and have just as great of a year this year that he did last year. My guess is he's probably not. That's not going to say he's going to have a bad year. His batting average might even go up some. But to suggest it as a second-year shortstop and he's going to have the power numbers that he did last year, that's a tough call to make, man. You hit 25 home runs in half a season. That's great. Fantastic. But now people have essentially game tape on him. They know what they're learning how to pitch him. So it's going to be a lot harder for him to get pitches to hit this year than it was last year. So him having 25 again this year is just not very likely. That's why they have sophomore slumps. Because now the batter has to get in tune with what the pitchers are trying to do. So that's going to make it tough on him. So again, where's our offense going to come from? Because if Ozuna is going to be the only one there hitting 20-plus home runs, how many of those are going to be solo homers? Because these other guys had trouble even getting on base last year. So there's going to be... I'm really dreading where the Cardinals are going to end up this year. I really am. I would still say that they're probably the 3rd best team in the division, with the Brewers getting a hold of Lorenzo Cain and Christian Yelich, and the Cubs being the Cubs. But I don't think that puts them in contention for even a wild card. Because you look out in the National League West now, you have Arizona, you have Colorado, you actually technically have San Diego as well. San Francisco moved up as well. So you got that whole division's going to be really tight. I think the Dodgers will run away with it, but the other 4 are going to be right there, and it wouldn't surprise me if all 4 of them have winning records. Because the Padres have increased their potential drastically by signing Eric Hosmer. So now they have Hosmer and Will Myers. And they also have the best, I just got something on Facebook or on my phone, I don't know. Anyways, they've already got what was decided today to be the best overall farm system in the major leagues. So this is a team that's right around the corner of being really competitive, being really good. Then you go out to the National League East, and the Mets have really stepped it up. You know, they got Jay Bruce back. They signed Todd Frazier. They signed Adrian Gonzalez. I'm not going to tell you that Adrian Gonzalez is the Adrian Gonzalez of old, but he very well could be. So the Mets are, and plus the Mets have, if not the best rotation in baseball, they're easily in the top 3 or 4. Easily. With Noah Syndergaard, with Matt Harvey, who I think should be able to come back and have a better year this year than he did last year, with Jacob deGrom. That's going to be a very tough team to beat. And the Cardinals start the season off there in New York against the Mets, too, by the way. So, as a Cardinal fan, and I'm sure that every Cardinal fan is thinking this exact same thing I am, they just might not be willing to say it, this is going to be a long year. I'm almost sure of it. That this is going to end up being a very long year. And again, as I stated, I don't remember if it was Monday or last week, that if the Cardinals are hovering around 500 come mid-season point, it's time to let Matheny go, bring in Oquendo. And then Mozeliak, you need to start worrying about your job as well. Because you're the guy that, you're the puppet master of the whole thing. I know Bill DeWitt's the owner, but Bill DeWitt's not going to fire himself. But he can fire you. So, and trust me, I'd be very, very, very willing to bat against you when that time comes up. So, I might not have that big of a voice right now, but hell, 4 months down the line, you don't know. We don't know. So, anyways, Cardinals, get your shit together. Let's go out. Let's get Alex Cobb, who I think would probably be the cheapest of the 3 free agent pitchers I've named already. Let's go out and get, say, Mike Moustakas to give us some more oomph in the lineup, to give someone, or to give Ozuna some protection, or maybe Ozuna can give him protection, so we can beef up the offense. We have tons of money to spend. I know you're trying to stay in the race to pick up either Bryce Harper or Manny Machado next year, but let's be honest, every single time a huge contract like that comes up and available, you guys always fail. So I don't have a lot of faith in you guys not failing this time. So let's pull our heads out of our ass and let's get the ball rolling. So today, Shohei Ohtani pitched his second game of spring training for the Angels. This was against this was a B game is what it was considered, where it was basically the Brewers sent in their B team to face him. They had a couple major league players, but none of their starters, none of their big name players. They didn't have Timms, they didn't have Braun, they didn't have Yelich, they didn't have Kane. But they had some of their major leaguers from last year. And he actually looked, I think, a lot better this time around than he did his first time around. By no stretch of the imagination am I saying he looked great. He did give up 4 hits in 3 innings, gave up 2 runs, or actually 2 2/3 innings is what he pitched, because basically they called the inning early in the second just to extend him, because it's a B game, so it doesn't really count for anything. But of the 12 hitters that he faced, he struck 8 of them out, and all 8 of those strikeouts were looking. And I was watching his breaking pitches. Granted, I only watched the highlights because the game wasn't televised anywhere, because, again, it was a B-team game. But the breaking action that he had on his slider and on his curve was amazing. His breaking, it had late break, and it broke. It seemed like a mile. It was phenomenal looking pitches that he was throwing today as far as those pitches go. He was still wild, don't get me wrong. I think he had 3 wild pitches in those 2 2/3 innings. And like I said, he ended up walking, or how many did he walk? Oh, no, he didn't walk anybody, no. He just threw a couple wild pitches. But those breaking pitches were amazing. And so if that's what he's going to be doing during the regular season, then I can't wait to see how good he is. His fastball apparently was the one that was still all over the place. From what I read, it didn't reach the 100 miles an hour that he's supposed to be capable of, but he was still kind of hovering around the 96, 97 mile an hour mark. And in spring training, that's pretty much what you should expect out of someone that throws 100 regularly. So good job for him. Again, it was against the B-teamers, so it might not translate into what he's going to be able to do in the regular season when he's playing against, say, the Astros, which he's going to play, which the Angels are going to play 18 times. I don't know how many starts he's going to get against them, but you can probably bet that he'll get at least 2 against them. So he's gonna be facing a lot better of hitters than he did today. So maybe the breaking pitches that I saw were all an illusion. Very well could be. But what I saw today, though, I was quite impressed. I mean, that he had some beautiful break on those pitches. So, all right, so let's get into what essentially is going to end up being legal issues here. By the way, I'm not doing my pitchers tonight. The reason I'm not going to, because I'm going to go ahead and do those on Monday and Tuesday before the next day off, just to give me something on the first 2 days of the week, so I don't have to stop them on Monday, you know. So we're not going to do that tonight, and like I said, I'm just trying to keep this one relatively short. But I was asked by someone if Sean Miller can sue either ESPN or Mark Schlabach for the report of him having a phone conversation with Christian Dawkins. Christian Dawkins happens to be a employee of ASM, which is the sports agency that's been very involved with playing these or with paying these college basketball players. And so, like I was telling y'all yesterday, the university conducted their own internal investigation. They found no reason to believe that the report from ESPN or from Mark Schlabach was correct, and found no reason to believe that Miller did anything either illegal or against NCAA rules. So I was asked today if he can sue them for defamation, libel, slander, that kind of thing. And basically my response is this. You can sue anybody for anything you want to. Whether the judge throws it out before you even try or anything like that, hey, that doesn't mean you can't sue. I mean, if you don't like this shirt I'm wearing, you can sue me for wearing an ugly shirt. You'd be stupid because this is a fantastic shirt, and as is my hair. So, you can sue anybody for anything that you want. That doesn't mean you're going to win and you're going to be out of a lot of money. So, in the case of Sean Miller here, remember, I am a paralegal by trade, and so I may not be able to argue this point as well as maybe a lawyer, but I do know a little bit about the law. And I'm not going to tell you that I know exactly what Arizona's laws are on defamation either, but I would imagine they're the same as they are here in Texas, which is where I'm a paralegal. So, just because defamation is really not that different anywhere, to be honest. So, oh yeah. You like to comment about the shirt there, Crystal? Welcome in, Crystal, by the way. Anyways, so if he wanted to sue over defamation, first off, I really don't think he would be suing Mark Schlabach personally. I think he would have to go after ESPN because of the resources that ESPN has in comparison to the individual Mark Schlabach. Schlabach probably I wouldn't believe is even makes $1 million a year. Probably not even close. So if he's trying to sue for defamation, if the university is trying to sue for defamation, or even DeAndre Ayton, the basketball player in question, is trying to sue for defamation, then they would be better off suing ESPN, because that's what's considered a deep pocket lawsuit. You go where the money is. So and so they'd be better off suing ESPN, maybe even Disney. But what they would have to prove is that there was malicious intent in this report. That's going to be very hard to prove, because neither ESPN nor Mark Schlabach are required to give up their... I mean, technically, yes, they're required to give up their sources, but anytime you see media on the stand, they don't give up their sources. Because they don't have to say it. Technically. They can always, I guess... I don't want to say plead the fifth, because this isn't a criminal charge, but they can always tell the not the prosecutor, but the suing party's attorney that, yeah, you know what, I'm not going to tell you who my sources are, because they are sources that are, what's the word I'm looking for here? Basically, they're anonymous sources. So. But that's also why you have to question the sources too, because if they're anonymous, then how do we even know you really have sources? So, but you have to prove that it was with malicious intent. I don't really believe that it was. I believe Mark Schlabach thought to himself, all right, I've got a great story here. I'm going to go ahead and write this report. And he works for ESPN, so they told him to go ahead and do it. We trust your sources, even though they probably don't even know who the sources are. And it turns out that these sources were most likely not legitimate sources. Or they may have told Mark Schlabach somewhere in there that, yeah, well, we do have phone recordings of Sean Miller talking to Christian Dawkins. But that doesn't mean that was related to DeAndre Ayton. That does not mean it was related to him paying DeAndre Ayton $100,000 to go to the University of Arizona. The fact of the matter is, the FBI has already interviewed Ayton and have found no reason to believe that he benefited at all from going to the University of Arizona outside of a basketball career and an education. So, or a scholarship, for that matter. So really, it's going to take a lot for Miller, for Ayton, or for the University of Arizona to win a lawsuit against ESPN for this matter, because it doesn't look like it was malicious. It just looks like it was bad reporting, which is typical of ESPN, nowadays at least. So yeah, so him trying to sue, that's going to be... I don't even think he's going to try it, to be honest with you. I think he's smarter than that. And the fact of the matter is that if they were talking about, hell, for example, my friend Crystal right here, who's messaging right now, if they said the same thing about her, then she could sue, because she's not in the public eye. She keeps everything private. It's her private life. This, on the other hand, when you are someone who is in the public, on TV, all that, you are me doing this show right now, someone could say that, Adam Fernandez doesn't know shit about what he's talking about. I can't go in and sue him for defamation, because I'm the one putting myself out there. Now, if someone were to try to accuse me of a crime, then that would be something different. But if they're just trying to say that I don't know what the hell I'm talking about, then I can't. I can, like I said, I can sue them, but it's going to get tossed out right away, because I'm in the public eye, because I'm doing this show. So, however, if someone tried to say that, Crystal Zimmerly doesn't know what the fuck she's talking about sports, you need to leave her the hell alone, Well, she's never saying anything about sports, so so she can sue, and you know what? That's defamation. So that's kind of how it works. So anyway, so the same thing with Sean Miller, or either the university or DeAndre Ayton, if they want to sue, they're more than welcome to try to sue, but it's going to be tossed out right away unless they can provide irrefutable proof that it was malicious intent behind the report. So, and they would pretty much have to wait until the FBI investigation, all of this is done. So, because it may very well be, and I'm not saying that, because I am not saying that ESPN is wrong here. I'm just saying it looks like it very much to me, especially because ESPN has a history of fudging facts and being way off. You know, so so where was I at now? I just lost my train of thought here. So yes, they can sue, but they're going to have to wait for the FBI investigation first off to take place. And if the FBI investigation leads to Miller being perfectly fine and nothing happening, then they would be able to proceed with a lawsuit against ESPN if they wanted to. But the judge would most likely toss it out right away because Sean Miller's in the public eye, and without irrefutable proof of malicious intent, you can't. I mean, there's no way you're going to win it, because that's what defamation is. Defamation is malicious intent to purposefully screw over someone. So, all right, do we got any questions on that at all, guys? So let's go ahead and move on to the last story of the night. Like, I'm trying to keep this one relatively short. So this one just came out just a little while ago, I think a few hours ago. Talking about Jerry Jones again, the whole Jerry Jones versus Roger Goodell. To be honest with you, I just want to see them put on some boxing gloves, or not even boxing gloves, put them in the cage. Put them in a cage like UFC fighters do and have them go at it. That would be probably the most boring fight you'll ever see, but at the same time the most entertaining, if you know what I'm talking about. Like, their athletic skill is not that great, or their fighting skills aren't that great, so it would look like just a couple old men beating the shit out of each other. That would be entertaining. That's what I'd like to see, personally. Anyways, but Jerry Jones has said that he will testify on Monday in an appeal hearing with Roger Goodell. In case you guys need me to go back and tell you what it all is about, Roger Goodell is trying to fine Jerry Jones over $2 million in legal fees for both the defense of Ezekiel Elliott and his appeal of his 6-game suspension for domestic violence, and also for the preparation of a possible lawsuit from Jerry Jones against the league if they went ahead and signed Roger Goodell to a contract extension, which they eventually did, but Jerry Jones never went ahead with the lawsuit. So according to ESPN, the magazine, these guys again, back in August, and I'm gonna love reading this to you guys here. Jones verbally assaulted Goodell over the 6-game suspension of Ezekiel Elliott, and saying, according to ESPN, quote, I'm gonna go at you with everything I have. If you think Bob Kraft came at you hard, Bob Kraft is a pussy compared to what I'm gonna do to you. I can see Jerry Jones saying that. I really can see Jerry Jones saying that. Only he probably wouldn't say it as loud and boisterous as I just did, because that's not how he speaks. It'd have been more like this. I'm going to go at you, and Bob Kraft was a pussy compared to what I'm going to do to you. That's more of how I see that. I don't know if you guys could hear me when I did that. But the fact of the matter is that Roger Goodell does have final and binding power to determine the repayment. But the question's going to be is... should the clause be triggered because Jerry Jones never did go ahead with the lawsuit? So the attorney fees were never ordered by the court. Plain and simple. So the money that they spent for attorneys was just preparation. It wasn't for an actual lawsuit. It was preparation for a lawsuit, but a lawsuit that never happened. So the question is going to be, does he need to pay for their legal fees when nothing ever took place? That's going to be the question. And it's going to be up to Roger. It's going to be completely up to Roger Goodell. So I really do see him going ahead with it and saying, no, you still owe us over $2 million. And then Jerry Jones might actually take it to court. And I think at that point, the judge might tell them, no, he doesn't. Because he never went ahead with the original lawsuit. So you have no grounds to sue him on. So I think that's what's going to end up happening. I may be way off on that one, but I think that's what's going to end up happening. I really expect to see Roger Goodell go ahead and levy the fine, and even though it's final and binding, I do believe that he's going to go ahead and take it to court. It'll be a federal court, and try to get it overturned. You could probably cite different types of contract law to do that. So he very well might do that as well. So if I were Jerry Jones, I'd have just paid the more than $2 million. He's got it. He's got it. I think he's just trying to prove a point. I would have just done it just to shut Goodell up. So, all right. Is there any questions, complaints, suggestions? Am I wrong in any way? Am I, granted, if you tell me that I'm wrong about my hair or about my shirt, then I'll tell you right now, you're way off. Way off. But anything at all? If not, then I hope you guys have a good Friday night. By the way, guys, they still do have tickets to the Michael Graves Show available at Tonic Bar. All you got to do is step on in there, get your tickets. They're $10 a piece before the day of the show. If you go on the day of the show, they're going to be $17 each. And as I've been saying, if you buy two, then that's $14 you could have spent on alcohol. So get out there before that, buy your tickets for $10, and I'll see you that Friday night. John David, I still have your tickets here. You need to let me know how you want them to be delivered and all that stuff. I don't know where you live or anything like that, man. So let me know how you want the tickets. Outside of that, guys, if there is nothing else, then have a good night. Have a good Friday night. Be safe out there. Do not drink and drive. Take an Uber. Have a sober driver, whatever. Just make sure you make it home safe. All right, guys. I'll see you tomorrow, or I'll see you Monday. I'm sorry. Y'all have a good night. And, of course, as always, besos.